Hi, and welcome to tonight's presentation on the essentials of self-publishing nonfiction books. So glad you are here to listen to this presentation. Now, I truly believe that publishing is one of the best professional and personal development processes there is available. To publish a book takes you through a huge amount of professional growth and also a huge amount of personal growth. So I've seen the impact of publishing in both of those capacities. It's one of the things that will truly allow you to take a quantum leap in your business. So I'll just be touching on those elements tonight. My name is Bev Ryan. I provide publishing services both to people beginning the process of publishing and also to people who've written the book and are looking for editors, graphic designers, etc. I also publish Honestly Woman magazine, which is in digital format for enterprising women who are starting something new. And I've also got a background in career development, so I find all of those things come together really well. So I'm best known for working with professional women and women in business who want to elevate their career and raise their profile through publishing a nonfiction book. My leap into self-publishing came back in the late 90s. My previous experience was in teaching, and I discovered the world of self-publishing through publishing a magazine back then called Work From Home. Now, I had the belief, as you may have, that you need to have a long career in publishing before you can publish something yourself, but it's not so. Independent publishing of music, books, films, whatever, today is just so accessible to people because of technology, and there really are no barriers today to the publishing world. What I found then in mid-2000s when I published Honestly Woman magazine, that it was an amazing way to raise my profile. The fact that I published enabled me to enter business awards, and I won several awards actually. I won a local business award through Quest newspapers. I won an industry development award through the state government, and I won a national marketing award as well. So that was a pretty exciting time. And publishing books, it has the same impact. So what I work with people on today, I've experienced myself. Okay, so these are some of the books that I have had a hand in publishing, and it's pretty exciting when I sit here and look at those titles and I think what those authors are actually doing with their businesses and with their lives. They're all having a huge impact on people in their own way. They have important messages to share. They took the time and did the work that it takes to actually write a book, and they reached out for my assistance either as a coach at the start of the process or as a publishing service provider at the end of the process. So, I really feel like I've had an integral part in their success, which is a really lovely feeling. And to see how those books have impacted those authors is really, really satisfying. So what can publishing a book do for you? One thing it will do as you plan your book, it will actually give you a huge clarity about your business and about what you want from your book and from your business. It will force you to get some clarity about what your value is and what your knowledge is and how to express that to the reader. So there's a lot of great things happen when you plan your book. It creates impact and authority. People who see your book and hear you speak or whatever see and feel that you have authority in your space, and it really does impact them, and it has a definite attraction factor when people want to do business with you. So it brings recognition and respect in your field. Now, I worked with Philippa to publish her book, Rules of Social Engagement, and because of that book, she went on to win several awards, and her business has grown immensely. She won the People's Choice Award for B&T Magazine's Women in Media in 2015, and she won a bronze medal in the IPPES Awards, which are based in the United States. It's an international independent publisher book award. So that little book we worked on together, Philippa did the hard yards of the writing. I provided the publishing services. So it won an international award. So I'm pretty proud of that one. Also, last year I had the privilege of working with Jason Cunningham. He may look very familiar too. Jason pops up on TV every now and then as media personality and business advisor. He appears on Channel 10's The Living Room show. and he's got a regular drive time show, The Run Home. So last year he wrote and self-published his second book, and this is it, Have Your Cake and Sell It Too. So we provided the editing, graphic design, book cover design, that sort of thing. So pretty proud to have been involved with him. And he publishes just to raise his visibility and exposure. And in fact, he published his first book several years ago, and that's really what enabled him to become a face on TV and a voice on the radio. Also, last year, I was an integral part of the work we did on leadership attitude, which was written by Sonia McDonald. Sonia is very visible in leadership space. She has been listed in the top 100 leadership blogs, and she's on the Richtopia's top 250 powerful women across the globe list, and that was before she wrote the book. So her book has sort of blasted her into the next level. She's doing some great work now with executive coaching, high-level executive coaching, and sells the book at events and whatever. So, and what else? The other thing I think Sonia found as in the writing process is that she realised that the actual value that she offers to clients. So it gave her a deeper purpose and meaning to what she does. And she's really proud of the fact that she's created a legacy and is leaving a footprint in this world, in the leadership space. Also, I worked last year with Elise Bradley, who's the author of this beautiful book, Millionaire Feng Shui. Elise is a wealth and money mastery coach, and now is an author and public speaker. Now, Elise had written this book largely a couple of years ago, and for various reasons, family life had taken her away from the mission to publish. Last year, she pulled out the pretty much finished manuscript, and then I worked with her and we created it and got it launched. So now Elise is back in the spotlight because of her book, and it's doing really well again, and people are really happy to see her back and to see her face and to read her book, and it sort of contains all of her great wisdom around feng shui and wealth creation. So all of those are really, really important books, and the absolute pleasure for me is to help those authors use those books to benefit the readers and also to benefit their business. So tonight I just wanted to talk about the essential steps in publishing. Assuming that you're on this webinar or you're listening to this webinar because you want to know what it's all about. So as you can appreciate, in a webinar like this, I can really just give you an overview. So I've broken it down into 3 stages. So this is stage 1 of publishing a book. First of all, you have to sit down and plan. Now, I'm not suggesting you start with planning your book. I think you need to start sort of with a higher level with your planning and just look at your business, what it is you want to achieve with your business, how a book might fit into that grand scheme of things. Now, I've just shown you some authors whose books have become an integral part of what they do. They were all very clear on their message, their audience, and what they wanted to achieve. So that's really an essential part. Now, if you're not really sure exactly what you have to offer, you might have 2 or 3 different ideas for books, and you're really thinking, well, do I put it all into one book or do I break it down? That's what's so critical about this early stage. It will really help you get some clarity about what book should you write first. You know, what book will have the most impact on your audience, or which book will benefit you the most to start with. So that critical planning phase will help you a lot. So number 2, there's project plan. So once you've decided that yes, you do want to write a book and just an overall picture of what you might like the book to do for you, then you sit down and develop a project plan. Now that's really mapping out when will you be ready to start this book, when do you want to have it finished by, and you pretty much work backwards from that point. So you might say, well, I want to launch my book in 12 months' time. So working backwards then, you then map out, well, when do I need the book to get to a printing house before it comes to me? So when do I need to get the book, get the page layout done before it goes to print? Then work backwards, well, when do I need to get the editing started so that those other things can happen? And then work backwards and figure out, well, when do I actually need to start writing this book? Chances are you're going to realize, well, whoops, I better actually start this thing now. the longer you delay the starting time, the tighter all of those things are going to be, and the worse off you'll be. I think it's a really good idea to set some kind of deadline for your publishing date so that you are accountable and you've got a reason to get your book done. So then once you've kind of mapped out the plan, and one thing I help with my coaching clients is to work through those time frames and say, well, look, it's going to take you 4 weeks for the editor at least, and then allow another 4 weeks for the book cover and layout. So, we work with those segments of time. We sort of plot them out and work backwards. Now, once you've kind of got that mapped out, then you start to zero in and look at the actual book plan itself. So that's when you sit down and think, okay, well, who's my really clear? You get really clear on the readership of your book. What's this demographic that you want to write for, and you must understand their problems and their pain, because that's what you'll be writing about in the book. You'll be delivering a solution to their problems and their pain in one shape or another. Now, if your feeling is that I really want to write a book and tell my story, that step has a purpose, but then you just have to think, well, why would a reader want to read my story? What lessons can I give to them through my story that will help them? Now, I guess a book that's, well, it's not fiction. An example of a book that really is somebody's story is Elizabeth Gilbert's book, Eat, Pray, Love. Now, that is her story. But look at the fact that it was a huge seller across the world. Now, why is that so? I mean, she is a very good writer. And for those of you who dismiss it as a trite or trivial book, I suggest you actually look at the quality of writing. She's a brilliant writer. The fact that she sold millions of copies of that book tells you the underlying message in that book just spoke to millions of people. And really, in the telling of her story, she told the story of many people's pain through searching for what they really want to find out of life. She was on the wrong path. She didn't know what the right path was. The book tells her story of traveling to find her direction, find her path. So, I mean, that's an example of someone telling their story, but they were able to deliver a message through that story. Most of the books I work with are written by business owners, some shape or form, or they're service providers, coaches, consultants. They are providing books that are very well targeted to their reader, and they're providing solutions that the reader will be looking for. So, for example, one of my clients wrote a book for people going through divorce. She's a family lawyer. Her mission is to keep families out of the court system, because she's seen how the court system can tear people apart in the divorce process. So she wrote a beautiful book called Who Gets the Dog? And it's all about how to go through a divorce process in a civilized way and come to amicable solutions and that keep people's dignity. So the book plan is really important part. The worst thing you can do is just sit down at a keyboard and start writing, because you'll freeze over. Okay, so stage 2 now, you've planned everything out, you've got your book plan, you've got your chapters sorted out. Your chapters will address the process you want your readers to go through. Then the critical stage to writing a book is this one, the writing and reviewing stage. Now, ordinarily, most writers would do this themselves. There are some shortcuts you could take. One shortcut to writing a book might be that if you prefer to speak, you might map out your book content and you might just dictate it into a recording. Then you might send that audio recording to somebody who will transcribe that into text, and they would also tidy it up and edit it, clean it up, so that you can then go back through that text and turn it into chapters for your books. That's for somebody who likes to speak rather than to write, and I know there's a lot of people out there. Another technique you could use is to maybe prepare a training weekend and break your training weekend up into segments. Each segment equates to a section in your book. Deliver your training program to a group, record your training program, get that transcribed, and then you've got your chapters. So that's another way you could do it. You could always get people to help you with writing. There's ghostwriters available. If you go to a service like Upwork.com and search for ghostwriters, you'll certainly find them. Whether or not they'll do a great job, they may charge a lot of money, so that's things to consider. But to write your book yourself, you really have to set aside time, and you need to find the time that works for you. So you might find getting up early works for you, or you might find one day a weekend works for you. I've had coaching clients who came to an agreement with their partner that one weekend a month, the partner would look after the children. She went away on a Friday night, stayed somewhere, wrote all weekend, came home Sunday night. And they agreed that that investment of time from him as dad and from her as a writer would pay off in the long run, because she had a business and she knew that the book would boost her business incredibly. So I love this little quote here. I want to do big things, but all I have are stupid words. Now that's actually what a writer might feel from time to time. Your tool is your words are your tools, and really that's it. So sometimes you might need to add a bit of oil to that, and maybe to read, start reading other people's work and just get inspired by other people's words. You don't have to change to Shakespeare to write a book. Simple language is fine. That author I showed you earlier, Jason Cunningham, his text, he's a straight talker. He's a down-to-earth guy. If you've seen him on TV, he's pretty basic guy, got really good opinions based on sound knowledge and experience. His book's pretty basic language. It feels like Jason's in the room talking to you, and that's all you need to achieve. So it's not about becoming this kind of person that you're not. It's really just about finding the words. And the reason I've added that review process in there is that once you write the manuscript, as you're writing it, don't try and edit yourself. Otherwise, you'll stop yourself. You'll keep stalling and doubting yourself. So just write. You've made your plan. Just write the words that go into each chapter. Now, then when you've done that, just put the book away for a couple of weeks, have a holiday, do something. Bring it out again and go through it again as almost as a distant, you've got some distance from it then. So the second time you go through it as a review, you will probably change things about, you might readjust things. You'll tidy it up before it goes to the editor. So my comment there, enjoy the process, connect with other people, talk to other people, gather information, gather research, assemble information. You don't have to rewrite or reinvent the wheel. You can gather what other people have done and bring their opinions into your book. You can interview other people, bring their stories into your book. And when you do that, when you make it more than just about yourself, you're actually reaching out to people ostensibly all over the world and getting their permission to add their voice to your book. So it's a really amazing process of connecting you to a bigger world, even in that writing process. So it's pretty exciting. Okay, so you've written your book and you feel like you've done as much as you can to the manuscript. So what happens next? So number 5, you pass your manuscript off to an editor. Now, it's really important that you get professional people to help you at this stage. Otherwise, you'll end up publishing a book that looks kind of badly done, rough and ready, and it won't have the impact that you want it to have. You want to create a book like the one that I showed you earlier by Philippa Spork. She entered it in an international book award and she won a bronze medal. So, that tells you that that book stands up. It's a world stage book. It's competed against books all over the world, and it's come away with a bronze medal. So that's what you're aiming for. Now, what turned Philippa's manuscript into a international standard book is the fact that we edited it. We did lovely layout for it. Her message was really clear. The information in her book was excellent. She had developed processes for the readers to go through. So her readers are small business owners. She developed a very clear process for them to go through to help them with their marketing. She developed diagrams to illustrate those processes. The language she used was quite detailed, but very logical and easy to understand. So we polished up the text, the manuscript. We provided the layout, the book cover, and basically she's done the rest. You know, she uses the book now to grow her business. So that polishing stage is really, really important. So the creating stage is their number 6, is when the edited manuscript and the beautifully laid out pages come together and they get sent to a printer. If you want, you might want a couple of 100 copies of your book printed. So, you know, we still use the traditional printer. They've got big digital print machines now, so you can get 100 books printed or 600 books or 1,000 books. I always suggest keep it around 200-300 to start with, so you can get your traditional print run done. But also now your books can be housed on Amazon, so people can buy your book off Amazon as an ebook, which would be a Kindle format. But they could also buy your book as a print book off Amazon. But so how that happens is we lodge your files with the company, and we use Ingram Spark, so we put your book files up through Ingram Spark. People will go to Amazon, purchase your book off Amazon. The order will go to Ingram Spark. Then Ingram Spark will actually print that book and print the cover and ship it out to the author. So you don't have a stock of books sitting in your garage anymore. It's all done online, which is a great leap in technology from the old days where a lot of authors would get 1,000 books printed and they'd have them in the garage and they're trying to sell them and deliver them, and it's really the hard way. So print on demand is an amazing thing. It is the author's best friend, and online technologies has opened up publishing to the world. So then number 7, once your book is up on Amazon and you got your print copies, is you actually have to launch your book. So launching to me is the finishing of the creation process and the start of the marketing process. So I don't assist authors in the marketing phase, but I certainly help authors get set up so that when the book is ready to go, they've got their basic marketing tools organised. They've got their website, they've got their web page, they've got other Facebook pages, what other means that they might want to use to market their book. So I guess in a nutshell then, that's the publishing process. So this little book here, just mentioning for a couple of reasons. It's called U Squared. It's by Price Pritchett. It's been around for a few years. It's a bestseller. It's a really simple little book. It's not very thick. It's probably got 60 or 80 pages. Really simple format. But his messages are really clear. That's why it's taken off. He just talks about the fact that it's possible to make quantum leaps in your business. So, in other words, if you try to do everything on your own, it's going to be a very slow process. So you need to be open to the idea of doing something new, taking risks, finding partners, multiplying your impacts, hence the name U Squared. Now, he doesn't really go into a lot of specific techniques for taking leaps or quantum leaps, but one of the things that will help you take a quantum leap in your business is to publish a book. So I thought this quote here was very apt. You simply move on an opportunity you've been ignoring in order to take a quantum leap. So you abandon your excuses, you reframe the problem. You take a completely different chance, revealing how the only thing of significance that has been standing in the way is you. Now, publishing is available to everybody, and I just would really stress that if it's of interest to you and you're feeling like, well, I don't know how to do it, well, take the leap and you'll find out how to do it. When I first got into publishing with my magazine, I had no idea how to publish a magazine, but it just had this huge attraction factor to me. It was just, oh my God, I can do that. There's the one thing I can do where all of the bits of me come together, and I know I can do it really well. I don't know the process, but I'll find out. And that's exactly what I do now in the self-publishing world. I help people who have got that drive and that desire to publish and to be an author, but they're just not sure how. So that's the end of the first segment of the webinar, which is really about the essentials of self-publishing. Now, I'm going to spend a bit of time now talking about a publishing program which I've scheduled to start later this week and early next week. And I will take you through what that's all about. So really, I guess this is an optional part of the program. Tonight, if you want to know more about that, stay online and I'll talk through that. But if you want to leave now, I hope that this short introduction to the essentials of self-publishing has been helpful. go back through it and just have a look at those authors that I've highlighted in the first section, and just have a look at the amazing work that they're doing. You'll see that publishing is not something that came naturally to them. It was, they're business owners, they know their stuff, they know what they're doing, they know their clients. Publishing was a process they wanted to add to the mix, so they reached out and got assistance with that. And now their books are done. The books now kind of come into the fold of their business, and it's one of the tools that they're using to ramp up their business. So I really believe that whenever we want to do something that's slightly out of our comfort zone, we need to reach out and get some help and get some coaching, because that's what will help us through that barrier of stepping into the unknown. Okay, so just going forward now, I'll talk a little bit about this Profit from Publishing program. I've run book success programs for several years now. What they are small groups of people who have a desire to write a book and they want to know how to do it. So they've got they might have a vague idea of what they want to write, or they may be really clear exactly what they want to write, but they know that they need a hand to get started. Now, I'm sure you can all relate that to various situations of like learning to drive. We get a driver teacher. Learning to play the piano, we get a piano teacher. So it's a really critical thing that when we're stepping into an unknown world, that we really recognize the value of somebody who can help us kind of expedite our way through that early stage to a point where we're quite confident. So in the past, I've run these book coaching seminars or webinars over 6 sessions. I've just decided this time to extend that time because there's a lot to cover, and also when somebody's starting to write their book, they actually do need a lot of support to get the traction, to get the book started, to get the traction happening, so that they're well and truly in the writing phase, so that they can then continue with that. So the program, this coming program, commences this Friday at 11 a.m. and it's structured as 8 fortnightly live webinars with me every second Friday at that time. So that time will be broken down into 60 minutes, which will be 60 minutes of me educating and informing you and coaching you. And then afterwards, you can stay on the line for another 30 minutes just with general questions, sort of a chat time. So my background is a teacher, as I said, and I realized long ago that my strength is in sharing information and breaking it down into logical steps that people understand. So, I'm all about tangible, usable information. I'm not about waffle. I'm not about philosophizing. I'm just about, well, here it is, step 1, step 2, step 3, and this is why it works, and this is what you need to do. So the value of those 8 fortnightly sessions, if we work down hourly time, is $3,600 for that time. So I'm just sort of using that as a guide to show you where the value lies. Now, what I've decided to do this time as well is to repeat that session. So I'm actually going to repeat the same coaching session on the following Monday. So if you're not able to do a Friday during the day, hopefully you can do a Monday evening. Or you might be able, if you're certainly welcome to do both. You might come in on a Friday, come back in on a Monday just for a repeat session, because you always learn more the second time. So people are welcome to come into the program as a Friday client or as a Monday evening client, or both. So the benefit of that is that, say if you come in on a Friday, but one Friday you've got to do something and you can't come into that webinar session, well, you can jump in the following Monday. Likewise, if you know you can't come in on a Monday, you might be able to jump in the previous Friday. So every webinar is recorded as well, so you also get access to those recordings. Now, the topics that I'll be going through in the live webinar presentations, and also it's a combination of homework as well. So we'll be going through creating a clear vision for your book so that you kind of get that really right first, defining who your audience is and knowing what they want. So that's a really critical part. It's a really bad idea to decide just to say, well, I know what they want, and you write a book and then you find out later, well, actually they don't seem to want it. They don't want to buy it. You need to find out first what your audience wants, and I'll be coaching you on how to go about doing that. You'll get clear on your own strengths in this process. Again, a lot of clarity comes from writing a book, enormous amount of clarity. You'll realize, well, maybe I can do all these things, but maybe this is what I'm particularly good at. Maybe this is the one thing that really will benefit my clients the most. So I'll just focus on that. So the whole planning stage is a really, really exciting stage. I will take you through in detail the whole publishing process. So you'll get the whole thing sorted. You'll know how long everything takes and when it happens and how to find the people you need. You'll work out a deadline and a sort of proposed publishing date that you want to work to, and you'll map out the key steps that you need to take along the way. You'll plan your book content and structure. So I'll get you started with that, and I'll give you input with that and help work with you on that. And to make sure you've got your chapter structure sorted so that you then use that framework to build on. So you'll learn how to write confidently, free of self-criticism. I'll share some tips and strategies for ways to share information, ways to write information, and help you to write without going into freeze mode because you're doubting yourself. You'll understand the anatomy of a book. So I'll take you through looking at what goes in the front of a book, what the middle of the book is, and what goes in the end of the book, and also what goes on a book cover. Your book cover is a really critical part of your book, and a book cover is kind of like the shiny wrapping that's going to attract people to it. So that book design is so important. So we'll work through that, and I'll get you started with a draft, even a draft design for your book cover, and also the sort of text you can put on the back of your book cover. And we'll also talk about your author platform, which is really something that should be in place so that when your book is published, you're ready to launch your book, you're ready to market your book. So we'll talk about that, and I'll sort of guide you through with what you need to get in place so that that can all happen once your book's ready to go. Okay, so that's what happens during the fortnightly webinar sessions. In between those fortnightly webinar sessions, you'll be doing some homework so that you actually get those things done to the point where by the end of those 8 fortnights, you will be well and truly in the writing phase. Now, the writing phase, unfortunately, is a bit of a solitary occupation, but I can certainly help you with that, be there to check in with you. So in order to help you through the aftermath, you know how sometimes we do programs and we get so much support during the program finishes and we go home and we just kind of lose the energy and the motivation and sort of nothing happens much. Well, what I'm doing is at the end of the webinar program is adding on some extra time with me. So over the next 3 months, you've got access to me for 4 half-hour personal coaching programs. Now that's all included in this whole program. So you just access me whatever time suits you. You might want to spend 2 one-hour blocks with me or 4 half-hour blocks with me or whatever. You can break it down however you want to break it down. I usually end up spending a bit more time with people anyway. So a 30-minute coaching session often turns into 45 minutes or 60 minutes. So I'm not going to be sitting on my watch just timing you and cutting you off at 30 minutes. Schedule at a time to suit you. But the reason I've sort of stated here that they must be planned within 3 months is I want you to access that coaching, and I want you to keep moving on your book. If I said to you you could access that within 6 months, you're just probably going to put it off. So the purpose of that is to give you this ongoing support you need to keep you moving. So the value there with that time, if I was to charge for that coaching time, would be $600. So I've just added that in as an indication. So the cost of this program, coaching program, which runs over 15 weeks of the webinar program and the further 3 months of coaching, is on my website is listed as $2,450. But I want to get people into the program. If you're listening to this call, I'm really delighted to give it to you for $1,997, and you can break that down into 4 payments of $500 each over 4 months. So in order to access that price, you just have to get in touch with me personally. Just email me, call me, or whatever. So I will give you those details in a minute. So just to sort of reiterate what you would get from doing the program, you'll get clarity and confidence about your message to the world. You'll decide which book to write first and for whom. You'll work out how to structure your book so it benefits your reader. You'll learn all the steps involved in self-publishing, how long it takes, and who can help you. you'll begin your book, and that's the best of all. You actually get your book started. You may well even finish it during that program, depending on time you've got available. Now, I really stress that. Some people have got a lot of free time, some haven't. So it is possible to get a book done in that time. I know a lot of people, or some people promote how to write a book in a weekend. You might be able to start a book in a weekend, but it's really doubtful you'll write a really good book in a weekend. So I always caution people a bit about that one. And the last point there, you'll work on your book cover concept, your book title and your back cover. All of those critical steps will help you kind of sort out what this book is and what it's about and what you want it to do. So just to repeat, if you're on the program tonight, the registration fee is $1,997, which breaks down also to 4 payments of $500 over 4 months through PayPal or by credit card or whatever. But you just need to get in touch with me personally and to chat about that, and we'll get it sorted for you. So here's my contact details. You can call me on 0403 831 342 or send me a text. It's 0403 831 342, or go to my publishing website, which is bevryanpublishing.com. It's bevryanpublishing.com. You'll find me there. Or you can email me, and the email address is not there, but you can email me on at bev@bevryanpublish.com. So it's bev@bevryanpublish, PUBLISH.com. So I guess the easiest way would be just flick me a quick text. Make sure you tell me who you are, and I can get back to you, and we'll go from there. So I hope this has been useful, and look, I really appreciate you joining me for this presentation, and I will hopefully talk to you soon.